Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Hey everyone, checking in on cryptocurrency. We're going to look at all the usual names, and then we're going to add in EOS, NEO, XLM, MATIC, TRX, and ADA per member requests. And right now we've got potential daily bull flag trying to form on Bitcoin. Anything above 78.81 is a higher low. We have the exponential support to be watching. And at this point, the bulls are still buying the bounce. So what I'm looking for is how aggressively are bulls buying the bounce? Because if we see oversold conditions without any buying pressure, it's very notable. And what has kept the bulls very strong on this entire bull rally over the last couple of weeks is oversold bounces on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the hourly getting significantly bought up. And here's another perfect example where the 15-minute RSI dropped into oversold conditions, and we have now seen a very significant $250 recovery from that pullback. I personally did not enter this as I was live streaming stocks and distracted, so missed a trading opportunity, but that's all right. When we last spoke, I had stop levels set on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin positions. I did get stopped out of Bitcoin and Litecoin. I have re-entered Litecoin, did not get stopped out of Ethereum as the bulls have held up better. We'll look at that in just a moment. But in the end, bulls are still aggressively buying the dips, which is great to see for the bulls. So we have a clear trend change back in favor of the bulls with an hourly higher low and now a higher high. So this is showing us a shift in momentum. We have not lost the 4-hour exponential moving average supports, and now the bulls are going to try and make their way up to resistance at 89.30 and 89.48 to try and see daily continuation. And at this point, if we were to see a bear break of 85.45, we know that we would very likely lose the 4-hour exponential support. But at this point, the bulls are comfortable enough that we're not worried about daily uptrends being lost at this point. And we are looking for the potential of another leg up. So 15-minute RSI to the rescue, and you'll note the way that things play out. Significant bull move, 5-minute RSI, oversold bounce plays out. The second or third time we get to 5-minute oversold RSI, the bulls do not buy as aggressively, and then we shift our focus to the 15-minute RSI. If the 15-minute RSI were to get oversold the second or third time after a bull move, we're not going to see aggressive dip buying. We then zoom out to the hourly, and we look for hourly oversold conditions. So on the 5-minute time frame for Bitcoin, on this most recent dump, that 5-minute RSI at the bottom got all the way down into the low teens. And back previously, look how many other oversold bounces bounced right off of 30. And at the low of the candlestick, we dipped below 30, but you can see defending that level multiple times, and then after the third or fourth time that we hit it, we then get significantly more oversold. So now looking at it on the 15-minute time frame perspective, that's our first 15-minute oversold from the high of the bull move. And if we were to see no continuation and another 15-minute oversold, or a second or a third 15-minute oversold, we can then zoom out to the hourly to look for oversold. So just keep in mind that in general, speaking in generalizations, the more times we hit an oversold level on a certain time frame after a bull move, the less explosive that bounce is going to be, which shifts our focus. We play the zoom out game with exponential moving averages, whether it's support or resistance. We also play the zoom out game with different time frames and different RSI levels. So where we stand right now, the hourly time frame is the most important for me with this higher low of 86.37. If the bulls keep that level into tonight, they're going to keep absolute full control. And if they want to show some strength here, we have another level, 88.50, before those 89 resistances that we just went over. So overall, Bitcoin bulls holding on well. Let's see how everybody else is positioned comparative to Bitcoin now that we've got that out of the way. Checking in on Ethereum. So Ethereum, looking at it from the daily perspective, has not started consolidation. We did not break the low of yesterday. Today is a daily inside bar forming. The 4-hour time frame, just like Bitcoin, is holding the exponential moving averages. We attempted continuation right now, and we're seeing a bit of a pullback from resistance, 277.12, 279.55. Overall, holding on just fine for the bulls. The bounce on the 15-minute time frame, we hit oversold, and actually we just barely hit above oversold. But as we know, Bitcoin is what we want to be watching as far as RSI level comparisons, and the significant bounce for the Ethereum bulls, 265 all the way up, $11 bull move. And we're watching the hourly higher low, which actually has not been set on Ethereum since that low of the bottom. So we need an hourly higher low to be set. once we do top out on this bull move. But look at Eth Btc Daily Chart. It's trying to shift this momentum again. I highlighted this in the video yesterday because we're watching the lower high pattern, 3277, 3187, and now we're looking at anything under 3187 just being a lower high, but there's a clear little shift in momentum going on. And the question now is, can the bulls change the daily trend on ETH BTC to give us our weekly higher low of healthy consolidation after the breakout 2 weeks ago? So still watching this key resistance, and if we do change this trend, we'll watch for those Ethereum bulls to try and make their way up towards 300. But we're going to have to see a break of the daily lower highs if that's going to be the case, in my opinion. LTC. So LTC had the same hourly trend change as Bitcoin, and that is why I entered a position in the 114s, and it's pretty much where I stopped out, and that's just fine for me. So if I stop out, even if I stop out and have to re-enter higher, let's say I stop out at 113 and then I re-enter at 114. I'm perfectly fine paying that extra dollar as insurance. So I call that my insurance because it protects me in case, the bulls didn't buy the oversold bounce this time around. They certainly did, but if we didn't, I'd be very grateful that I stopped out. Seeing that we did see a significant bounce from bulls buying the dip, seeing everybody recover, then can give me a new setup to be watching and a new stop level to be watching as well. So before, where I had my stop, we didn't have any clear support levels nearby, but let's say I re-enter a dollar higher, my stop level is very clear, either at 113 or 111.58. So again, just like, you're not going to hear many people, technical analysts, talking about market buying or buying higher, but it's something that I do very often. And again, if I have a key resistance play with stocks, I do it all the time. If there's a $100 wall of resistance at 100 psychological, I'll sell at 99.85, and then I'll buy the wall breaking, and I'll pay that 15 cents to be my insurance. Because if we reject from 100 and then pull back to 97, I'm going to be real happy that we sold. And if we don't, then I'm just going to rebuy 15 cents higher, and I'll have that protection of the potential scenario where we weren't able to see continuation. And I've talked about that in these crypto videos before, the insurance policy trade. So where Litecoin stands, my stop is now looking down in the low 1-teens, because if we were to fall down and break those levels, it would certainly be a short-term red flag. Daily inside bar, just like Aetherium, have not broken the low of yesterday like Bitcoin has. 4-hour exponential moving average support holding, and the bulls are attempting for continuation, which is why I wanted to get back into a position once we got the all clear of bulls buying the dip and an hourly higher low being set, and now the hourly trend change. The question is, let's see what the bulls can do with this hourly trend change back in their favor as we head into tonight. XRP bulls are showing up in a big way. They had been lagging behind other names, and now we're looking up at this resistance of 47.8. 478 is the level. If we do not break that resistance, we'll have to come down and form a higher low. But on the 4-hour time frame here, very clear uptrend intact and the continuation. So this looks like a lot of other names on the 4-hour time frame, but those other names right now, like Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, they're all trading right around here in terms of their comparative levels where we were from yesterday. But XRP has already seen this continuation, and nobody on the 4-hour time frame that we've just looked at has seen this 4-hour higher high. So that is notable for these bulls. The new support is 418 on the 4-hour time frame. We're watching this 4-hour uptrend to keep the bulls in control, and they have their sights set on trying to break 478 to see continuation on this daily time frame. And you can see the daily volume spike as we still have hours left to trade. Binance is a daily inside bar, close to breaking support, double bottom at 32.50 the last 2 days, and we still have not formed our daily higher low. This is the same period of consolidation since the all-time high, and even if we do break these inside bars bearish, anything above 29.67 is a daily higher low, and if we do break these supports of 32.50 and 32.32, the daily exponential support then becomes the target. So coming up on this support level now, and let's see if we're oversold anywhere. Hourly RSI, not oversold. 15-minute RSI just bouncing right at 30. Multiple bounces right around 30 today. Actually, this is almost the 4th time that we've bounced off that 15-minute RSI hitting oversold. But we still have a very clear 15-minute downtrend, and now it's more of an equilibrium with our low, high of the bounce, double bottom. Anything under 33.20 is a lower high. Bulls need to shift that momentum and try and change that 15-minute trend to stay within that daily inside bar. EOS USD, big time bull move on the daily. This was a really nice equilibrium. Getting our magneton, we had our high of the bull move, low of consolidation, lower high. We did break support because that low was 578 and we've dropped down to 573. So we broke it by a few pennies, but as we know, when we break support and we confirm a trend change and don't get any follow through, look in the other direction because it's a potential flag on a longer term time frame. So we barely broke support, bulls showed up, we rejected from resistance again, and here again we broke resistance, but only by less than 2 pennies, got real tight, and then we got the bull follow through, and it was very significant with the amount of follow through that we did get. And the convincing part of it 2 days ago was breaking all resistance levels in one candle. So we broke 661 and 688, alleviating any concerns of the bulls that we weren't going to get a clear breakout, and we are getting big time follow through. Weekly uptrend very clearly intact at this point. Next clear weekly resistance is looking up at 935 from here. 4-hour uptrend is, let's see, actually you could say that was lost at this point because we did have our high of the bull move, low of the pullback, double top, and then a break of support. But it's another scenario. We broke support and saw no follow through for the bears. So keep an eye on EOS because they have been leading the charge. There's your 15-minute RSI getting right to oversold. And now we have a little 15-minute trend change. And let's see if we can get clues from EOS. EOS breaking bull was perhaps a clue that we were going to see strength in XRP and higher lows form on the 4-hour time frame in these other names. But EOS clearly is the lead bull out of everybody we've looked at this point because of the bull volume over the last 2 days. And look at that bull volume. It's the highest bull volume that we've seen in about 2 months. And if you look at other coins, let's just take Bitcoin, for example, and of course this is just on one exchange, but that bull volume is nowhere near as notable, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find a name that does have bull volume that stands out that significantly. So EOS bulls currently forming a daily inside bar. If it breaks, we're just going to be looking for a daily high or low if it breaks bearish, and if it breaks bullish, then we're looking up at a lack of resistance in this area. If we scroll back to the daily time frame and see where we were, back in this area, I'm looking now up in the mid $8 range. Around the 840s and 850s would be the next resistance zone if we do see continuation from here. NEO USD, we have key resistance at 1265 that the bulls need to break. And we did break it with no follow through. So again, very different setup than a lot of other names. Bitcoin would have already broken 1380. XRP, which was a laggard, would now be up in the 1360s or so. And again, just comparing other names and their setups to where we stand on NEO, and the bulls still have a clear daily uptrend, but we're not seeing the explosive follow through that a lot of other names are seeing. So we've got resistance at 1280, 13, and then 1380. And right now we have a 4-hour uptrend that the bulls are trying to maintain. Key short-term support, 12 psychological and 1185. But again, most concerned with the daily uptrend, and anything above 1121 will be a daily high or low. Let's see if the Neo bulls can get a spike in volume. Daily inside bar here as well. We've got a lot of daily inside bars forming today. And if they close this way, tomorrow we should see a lot of daily inside bars give us some clear breaks. XLM, USDT. So also not seeing a clear bull break yet. We're technically still in an equilibrium. High, low, lower high, higher low, unable to break resistance. Key level is 14.5, and we got up to 14.4, couldn't break. And if we reject from there, we have to pull back and hold 11.7. So still in an equilibrium. It's worth watching for the potential that it is a laggard. And I would also want to compare it to an exchange that is not factoring in the tether. And we're still, this is Coinbase, much less volume, but still in an equilibrium here as well. So keep an eye on it for a laggard play. And we'll see if we get a bull break sometime in the next couple of days to try and catch up to other names. But the fact that it has not broken yet, clearly a bit of a red flag for bulls, as there is a lot of opportunity elsewhere. MATIC BTC. So the next three are going to be Bitcoin pairings. The bulls are attempting to establish a low here. And if we look at the 4-hour time frame, it's just been a consistent downtrend at this point where we had the range tighten up with a bit of an equilibrium. The equilibrium broke bearish after it tightened up for a few days, and now we are looking at 236 as a base of support. And the bulls are breaking some resistance levels, but remember, breaking resistance is not enough to change the trend. We must confirm with a higher low and higher high to confirm that that trend change has taken place. Even when that does change the trend on the 4-hour time frame, we can look at the daily and say anything under 447 is just a daily lower high. So we're currently seeing a big pullback from that spike. And the question is, how much of a shift in momentum can the bulls see, knowing that even when this 4-hour trend does change, we are still just looking for a daily lower high. So not a lot of clarity for the bulls to be confident in on this chart until we can see a higher low and higher high. But even then, daily trend is not going to change back to the bulls in the near term future, in my opinion. TRX BTC, clear trend change on the daily, and this shows me a weekly trend change because of how long it took to develop. So actually I take that back, spoke too soon. On the weekly time frame, I was anticipating that we were going to see a high and then a higher low in continuation, but at this point it is still a potential weekly bear flag. So we need to see continuation from here. 335 is the must hold level. If we lose the daily uptrend at this point, we are going to increase the odds significantly that it is a weekly bear flag. We had 402 resistance and we broke it, but there's a lack of follow through. So when you change a trend and you see a lack of follow through, you zoom out to a longer term time frame and look for a potential flag. And right now, the lack of follow through has us looking at the potential weekly bear flag. And in this scenario, for the bulls to try and negate that weekly bear flag, I'd need to see a move over 4-5 and a lot of continuation. Also watching the exponential moving averages, the 12 and the 26 period on the daily time frame has been bearish now at this point for 3.5 months. And we're trying to see a bull cross here. We'll see if the bulls are able to pull that off. It would be notable if they were. But again, this weekly time frame definitely needs more follow through because right now it is a bear flag. ADA BTC looks like the same thing. Weekly inside bars, a little bit less of an upward slope. So just a tight sideways range. And we have our low of 9.1, our high of 12.1, our higher low of 9.5, and we're going to look for a lower high compared to 12.1 and a continued daily equilibrium. So it's a different setup because we don't have the higher high where the lack of follow through shows the bear flag. It's just a tightening sideways range, and we're scouting that lower high compared to 12.13. We could stay within this pattern for another solid week and a half or 2 weeks with how much space there is. We could see another few days of upside, then another pullback for a higher low. We could be in here for a week plus pretty easily. So overall, who's the strongest? EOS clearly flexing its muscles with its big bull move up. XRP is one of the stronger moves today as we're making our way towards resistance. And ETH seeing some strength comparative to Bitcoin, but still a daily lower high pattern on ETH BTC pairing, which we would have to see change for the bulls. And as far as weakness goes, XLM still in its daily equilibrium, certainly one of the weaker names. NEO is one of the weaker names as well. And that's where we stand. So hope you're well. Do good things out there. We'll check back in tomorrow and see if the bulls can keep these 4-hour exponential moving average supports on Bitcoin, Ethereum Litecoin, and our bigger coins. We'll end it here with a botanical garden walk in Wilmington, North Carolina on the coast. Had a great time hanging out with friends. First time being back there since I went to college a decade ago, and there was some good nostalgia. The first stock trade I ever made was about 9 years ago in that town. And nice to get some waves on the beach. Thanks again. See you soon.